Family, explain this to me. How does a grown woman walk into somebody else's event, rip out DJ equipment like she's starring in her own reality show, and then flip the script to play victim the minute cameras roll? That's not just entitlement, that's performance. And the wild part is, we've seen this act too many times before. Different face, same Karen script. Let's lay it out plain. It's a Saturday morning in Houston and folks are chilling. Coffee, house music, community vibe, a little run club that ends with music and fellowship, something wholesome, nothing wild, nothing illegal. The event was even approved by the building manager. They had the green light. But here comes a woman from the salon next door, storming in like she owns the whole complex. The music, mind you, wasn't blasting at midnight. This was daytime, Saturday morning into afternoon, perfectly legal hours, but she decides the music is too loud for her salon treatment, so instead of talking to staff like a reasonable human being, she goes full sabotage, walks up to the DJ booth, pulls cables, damages equipment, and basically shuts down the vibe. Now let's pause right there, because that's not just rude, that's destruction of property. That's someone thinking they have the right to touch what isn't theirs because their comfort outweighs everybody else's. And family, that is the very definition of entitlement. Then, when Brittany Lopez, one of the DJs, caught it on video, what happened? The woman doubled down. She threatened to call the cops. She claimed victimhood. She even pulled out the "you can't record me" card. Like, ma'am, you just destroyed thousands of dollars of equipment at a public event and your concern is privacy? That's wild. And notice the performance. First, she's aggressive, snatching cables. Then, when she realizes she's being filmed, she flips it. "I'm the victim. You can't record me. You're violating my rights." That's the classic Karen maneuver. Flip the script, weaponize the law, weaponize victimhood. We've seen this movie before. Remember BBQ Becky in Oakland? Called the cops on black folks barbecuing in a public park? Remember Permit Patty? Called the cops on an 8-year-old girl selling bottled water? Remember Central Park Karen? Called the police on a black man birdwatching and lied that he was threatening her life. It's the same script. Inconvenience plus entitlement plus fake victimhood equals "I'm calling my lawyer." And family, let's talk about this lawyer nonsense, because the commenters nailed it. Why does every Karen have a lawyer on speed dial? Who lives like that? If you have an attorney ready to jump in every time you throw a tantrum, maybe the problem isn't the world. Maybe the problem is you. One TikTok user said it best: illegal to record, but not illegal to damage someone's property. Got it. That's the twisted logic on display here. Destroy someone's livelihood, then clutch your pearls about being filmed. That's not logic. That's privilege speaking.
There's a salon next door.
Hey, dear, I apologize. We have a private event going on. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's Saturday.
That's great for you, dear. This is our event.
Okay.
This is my space. Whoa. Excuse me, man. Please go ahead and get out, please. I apologize. We have this approved by the building owner.
But I have a video of you. No. It's not. Oh my God, she damaged our product.
I'm calling my attorney.
Call your attorney right now.
I feel you, bro, but
I wasn't even here.
Customer.
I understand, but I wasn't even here.
Just like you're telling me.
She's a customer at Ironworks.
I feel you, but you telling me just like
I didn't.
She damaged our
What is
product,
your
though.
name? I'm asking you. Who
You don't
they
need to
are.
know my name. What is your name?
You are recording me.
I can record you.
You
You're
do
in
not
public.
have the right to record
You're in
me
public. I
if
can
you
record
do not
you.
have my permission.
You have me up. You messed up our speakers. Like, are you delusional?
Straight to Goose, and I said, what happened?
I don't even talk to people like this. You have me out of my character right now.
Now here's the cultural piece I want us to catch. When this woman walked in and touched that equipment, she wasn't just disrupting sound. She was symbolically saying, my peace matters more than your culture. My treatment matters more than your community. My individual comfort is more valuable than your collective joy. That's how privilege moves, prioritizing one person's convenience over an entire group's right to exist in space. And let's not forget the hypocrisy. The noise ordinance in Houston bans loud music between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. This event started at 9 a.m. broad daylight, fully legal, so her whole "it's Saturday" rant doesn't even make sense. Saturday is literally the day people gather. Saturday is the day for brunches, music, social life. Complaining about noise on a Saturday afternoon is like complaining about traffic at rush hour. That's just life. But see, this wasn't about noise. If it was, she could have walked next door, asked politely, or spoken to the building manager. This was about control. It was about walking into a space that wasn't hers and asserting dominance. And when that didn't work, it was about flipping the script to play the victim. And family, that's why so many people online said this is how people get the ST slapped out of them. Because when you destroy someone's property and then act like you're the one being wronged, the audacity is infuriating. But notice the restraint from Brittany and the bar manager. They didn't escalate. They didn't curse her out. The manager even called her dear while escorting her out. That's grace she didn't deserve, and yet the minute she's outside, what does she do? Whips out her phone to call a lawyer, as if the biggest injustice in the world was her being recorded while she committed a crime. Family, this whole incident is a case study in how privilege performs under pressure. Step 1, disrupt. Step 2, play victim. Step 3, weaponize the law. Step 4, gaslight the people you just harmed. It's tired, but it still happens because too often these folks get away with it. Family, let's really peel back the psychology of this, because what we're dealing with isn't just one cranky woman in Houston. What we're looking at is the full playbook of a behavior pattern that's been rehearsed for centuries. See, people like her don't just stumble into this kind of performance. It's cultural muscle memory. They've been conditioned to believe their feelings equal law, that if they're uncomfortable, the rules bend. If they're irritated, the world has to stop. And when they step out of pocket, the backup plan is always the same. Flip the script, play victim, and if all else fails, weaponize the system. That's why the minute cameras came out, her whole energy changed. First, she's bold, snatching cables, yanking wires, damaging equipment like she's auditioning for WWE. But the second the lens turned on her, boom, victim mode activated. Suddenly, she's the one being violated. Suddenly, her rights are the issue. Suddenly, recording her crime is the real crime. Family, that's not confusion. That's strategy. That's the Karen defense mechanism. Yes, I did wrong, but the minute you hold me accountable, I'll cry foul louder than the damage I just caused. And here's the deeper piece. This script works because historically it's been reinforced. Think about Emmett Till. A white woman's lie was all it took to get a black child murdered. Think about the countless times police were called on black people just existing. Barbecuing, entering their own apartments, selling water. The pattern is the same. Discomfort gets translated into danger, and danger gets enforced by the system. So when folks online said this woman reminded them of Karens in the wild, they weren't exaggerating. They were recognizing a legacy. Because let's be real, there's a straight line from "this black boy whistled at me in 1955" to "this music is too loud for my salon" in 2025. It's the same entitlement, just updated for the playlist. Now let's talk about that word Saturday, she screamed. Because family, you know that was comedy gold. She hollered, "It's Saturday," like it was some airtight legal argument. Like Saturday means silence. Like Saturday is the holy day of peace and no music. That was her best case, Saturday. No wonder TikTok was lit with jokes. Folks said Saturday is literally the perfect day for music. Others said, what does that even mean? Because in reality, Saturday is when the world is the loudest. Malls packed, restaurants jumping, sports blasting. Saturday is when you expect sound. The fact that she thought Saturday worked in her favor shows you this wasn't about logic. This was about theater. And family, you gotta notice the privilege in that theater. Imagine if it had been reversed. Imagine if a black woman walked into a white-owned salon, yanked out their electrical equipment, damaged their property, and then screamed victim when recorded. You know how that would have gone. Police would have been called immediately. Mugshots posted, charges filed, the aggressive black woman narrative plastered across local news. There wouldn't have been time for her to call her lawyer because she'd already be in the back of a squad car. But because this was a white woman, she had space to perform. She had time to pull out her phone, scroll for her lawyer, and argue about recording laws. That's privilege in action. The freedom to break rules while negotiating your own accountability. Now, let me drop a clap back for that. You don't have my permission to record line. Sis, you walked into a public lounge, caused a scene, destroyed property, and then tried to dictate camera rights? No, ma'am. That's not how this works. In public, cameras roll. And in this era, cameras save lives. If anything, Brittany's phone was her shield. That footage wasn't harassment. That footage was insurance. Because without it, who knows how the story might have been spun. And here's the genius of Brittany's response. She clapped back right in the moment. She told her, "You're in public. I can record you." Because too often, we let folks bluff with fake legal talk. They bank on intimidation, hoping nobody knows their rights. Brittany shut that down on the spot. That was quick-witted survival. But family, here's where it gets even deeper. This isn't just about DJs and salons. This is about who feels authorized to control public space. For centuries, black folks have been told, stay quiet, stay invisible, stay in your lane. Our gatherings, our music, our culture, constantly policed. From jazz clubs to hip-hop parties, from house music to BBQs in the park, anytime Black joy gets too loud, somebody calls it a problem. So when this woman yanked cables, it wasn't just about noise, it was about control. It was about saying, your joy is disruptive, your community is inconvenient, your sound is a violation of my peace. That's the bigger context. That's why the internet went off. Because people recognized this wasn't just pettiness, this was a power play. And notice, the salon owner even backed her. Instead of saying, you shouldn't have destroyed equipment, they stood by the client. That's complicity. That's saying, we value her entitlement more than we value fairness. And that's how these behaviors survive, not just through individuals, but through institutions that excuse them. Now, here's where we circle back to accountability. Folks in the comments said, why didn't anyone call the police on her? That's a real question, because destruction of property is a crime. But here's the dilemma. We know how quickly calling police escalates. For Black folks, involving police can be dangerous, even when we're the victims. That hesitation, that's trauma. That's the system flipping on us so many times that we second guess using it even when we're in the right. And that hesitation is exactly why Karens feel empowered. They know the threat of law is on their side, not ours. They know if cops show up, they'll be believed first. They know they can flip aggression into victimhood faster than you can hit record. Family, that's why videos like this matter. Because once the footage circulates, the narrative changes. The lie doesn't stand. The script falls apart. And suddenly, the woman who thought she could control the space becomes the internet's latest punchline. Family, let's zoom out and put this all in perspective, because this story in Houston is bigger than a woman yanking some DJ cables. It's about who gets to control public joy, who gets to dictate the volume of culture, who gets to weaponize rules, ordinances, or fake legal talk to put Black expression back in a box. See, when that woman marched into a lounge on a Saturday morning and shut down music, she wasn't just silencing speakers. She was echoing a long American tradition of trying to silence us. From the beginning, Black culture has been policed like it was a threat. Slave owners banned drums because they feared communication and uprising. Jim Crow towns outlawed gatherings after dark because they feared Black folks building solidarity. Cities have used zoning and ordinances to shut down jazz clubs, blues joints, and hip-hop venues under the excuse of noise. Over and over, the message has been the same. Your sound, your space, your joy is too much. So when this woman screamed, "It's Saturday," and yanked cables, that was just the latest remix of the same old song. The words change, the tools change, but the theme stays the same. You don't have the right to disrupt my comfort with your culture. Now let's talk psychology, because this is deeper than pettiness. This is entitlement rooted in power. It's the belief that rules bend when you're uncomfortable and bend harder when Black folks are involved. That's why she felt bold enough to not only damage equipment, but then flip it into victimhood. That's why she thought yelling about being recorded was her trump card. That's why she whipped out, "I'm calling my lawyer," like it was Uno and she had a draw four. Family, that's projection mixed with privilege. Do harm, then claim harm. Attack, then scream victim. And here's the kicker. That play has worked historically. That's why it gets repeated. Because systems have rewarded that script. Whether it was police taking a white woman's lie over Emmett Till's life, or police believing BBQ Becky's 911 call over the family she harassed. But here's where times are changing. Cameras, social media, receipts. That same arrogance that made her yell in public is the same arrogance that got her caught in 4K. The performance she thought would shield her is the performance that exposed her. That's the shift. And family, we need to talk about the gaslighting that comes with it, because after she destroyed equipment, what was the salon's response? Not to condemn her, not to apologize. They backed her up. That's complicity. That's saying her comfort matters more than your rights. That's the group dynamic of privilege. Institutions circling the wagons to protect bad behavior instead of correcting it. Now here's the part that hit me hardest, the restraint. The DJs didn't get violent. The manager called her dear while walking her out. That's grace under fire, and yet look how quickly she screamed aggression anyway. Family, we could whisper, we could apologize, we could say dear 10 times over, and the narrative will still flip if someone is determined to cast us as the threat. That's why we can't live our lives trying to tiptoe around their imagination, because their imagination has never been in our favor. So what's the takeaway? That's the part I want you all to hold. First, we have to keep filming. I know it's exhausting. I know it feels invasive to live with your phone as a shield. But in moments like this, that footage is power. Without Brittany's video, this woman's story could have flipped and stuck. The narrative would have been, aggressive event staff bullied me. Instead, the internet saw the truth and the gaslight blew out. Second, we have to call out the absurdity of these performances in real time. Brittany did that perfectly. You're in public. I can record you. That's cultural fluency, quick wit, survival all rolled in one. Don't let fake legal jargon intimidate you. Know your rights. push back. Third, we need to talk openly about the policing of Black culture, because this isn't random. Whether it's music, gatherings, hairstyles, slang, or dance, our culture is constantly labeled disruptive until it's stolen and resold. House music was born in Black and Latino clubs, and now it's global. Hip-hop started in the Bronx, and now it runs the charts. But at the grassroots level, at the barbecue, at the lounge, at the park, we're still told to turn it down. That contradiction has to be exposed. Fourth, institutions have to be held accountable when they enable this behavior. The salon siding with her client wasn't neutrality. It was choosing privilege over justice. Businesses, schools, organizations, all of them need to stop hiding behind customer service and start protecting fairness. And finally, fifth, we can't let these performances shake our joy, because that's the real target. It's not about decibels, it's about disrupting joy. If you kill the vibe, you kill the togetherness. And togetherness is power. That's why these clashes always center on cultural space. Family, let's be clear, this wasn't just about music. This was about power. And the fact that it blew up online, the fact that thousands of people saw through her performance, the fact that she became a punchline instead of a victor, that's progress, that's the flip. So let me close with this. Karens in the wild will keep popping up. They'll keep storming into spaces that don't belong to them. They'll keep trying to yank chords, silence sound, and weaponize victimhood. But every time they do, we'll be louder with truth. We'll be quicker with receipts. We'll be sharper with clapbacks. Because our culture is not a crime. Our music is not a violation. Our joy is not illegal. And no amount of fake victim tears can erase that.